Hey guys, welcome back for my fourth and final video on the Ableton master template. Today we are going to be getting into all the tools that we didn't get into in the first three videos. So the last three videos are, we focused on the drum instruments, the bass instruments, and a number of the synth instruments. So today we're going to focus on uh, all the other things that we didn't get into, the waveforms, utilities, the I believe the stabs, the in-key tool, and so forth. It says in the description. So if you're just joining or if you're watching the replay, hope you enjoy this. I'm just going to get right into the walkthrough video. In the description, you'll see a coupon code for this. That'll be good for a few more days. So if you're watching this live, you can grab it now. If you're watching the replay, it may already be expired, but needless to say, I think you'll get a lot out of the Ableton master template. If you are looking to speed up your music production, and if you're a person who collects a lot of loops and sample libraries and all that sort of stuff, this kind of replaces a lot of that and gives you a lot of flexibility with a lot of different sounds. So yeah, with that, let's dive right in, and I'll let the video kind of speak for itself. If you guys have any questions, drop it in the comments. I'm here through this whole time, and after the video, I'm happy to answer any questions that you drop in there. So hope you enjoy this. Take care. Hey guys, welcome back to video 4 in the Ableton Master Template version 2.0. So we've gone through quite a bit in the last 3 videos. I'm going to try to finish this up, if possible, in this video. So we're going to go through several different folders here, and I wanted to start with the filters and rises. Filters can be really important in adding some suspense into your songs, and it's not that it's really difficult to do, but it's really nice to have tools that are readily available, as well as having just different types of noise as well. As you can see in this folder, we have loops of just different types of noise here, which you could also find really helpful at times. So with that, let's go ahead and drag in the filter sweep rack here. And here we go. So we've got 4 different types of filters. We've got an operator filter, then we've got a low pass, band pass, and a high pass. So we'll start with the operator. You just use a chain selector to select between these. And as you can see, this chain here, as it moves right here, it'll choose different filters. All right. So let's just start with the operator. And with noise, you just press any key on any keyboard and you're just going to get the same kind of noise sound, right? Very low. And as we open it up, obviously, so added to this is delay, reverb, LFO, resonance, chorus, and flange. So that gives you a lot of different approaches that you can take to make a lot of different types of filter sounds. So it's not just a static. Let's see if I take everything off here. Resonance down as well. This is just a very basic. Right? Which can be pretty cool as well. But I just wanted to give you guys more options. So let's get some of that delay happening. We'll get some resonance. Right? Let's turn down the delay. Turn up the reverb here. Nice little splash sort of sound. Really nice stuff. Noise is really, really useful in giving a bit more intensity to a track, just adding that higher frequency sometimes. It doesn't work in every track to be certain, but if you're trying to add a bit more energy, sometimes noise can be the trick. So let's go ahead and we'll add some flanger here. So let's just turn this pretty high so you're really able to hear. Right? Chorus. Chorus and flange. Almost sounds like a car driving by or something like that. And then we could do LFO rate. So let's, I'm going to actually control two knobs at the same time, the filter frequency and LFO with my controller. So lots of fun stuff that we can have with this filter sweep rack. It's just something that you can just pull in at any time and get a lot out of it. Another thing that you can do if you wanted to is you could just set up another audio track and you could just set it to the filter sweep rack and arm this track. And then what we can do, I think we got to arm this track as well, is we could record what we do with these filter sweeps, and then we can just cut this audio up and use it in our song. So we can, you know, spend a good 15-20 minutes just playing around with different filter sweeps and then cut up our favorite ones. And that could be pretty interesting as well. So it's just as simple as hitting record, coming on over and playing around. Get a little delay going. So forth. And as you can see, you've got all your parts here. Obviously, I'd probably want to turn the volume down. That's pretty loud. So what you might want to also consider is on this track, might be helpful to come in and drop in a limiter. And also bring down the volume as well a little bit. You could always turn it up later. But anyway, there's the filter sweep. Let's get to our next tool here. And that is our endless noise rise. So this is just a real simple tool here. And the way that this works, we've got 3 clips right here. Just so you can see them a little better, we'll just change the color briefly. So there we go. And all we're doing is just clicking here, the arrow on the group. And what it's going to do is it's going to create this endless rising sort of sound. just like so. That just might be something that you might want, in a breakdown or something like that. And it just will give you an endless rise. Now you might want to put some sort of a filter after it if you wanted to. But yeah, this is just something that gives the illusion that the rise is continuing and continuing. So I thought I would throw that in as a cool tool as well. Then we just simply have white noise by itself. It's just nothing special at all. Just some white noise. Never know when you're going to want that. And there's our filters and risers. All right. Next, we could get into effects. So we have effects for different things. And I've already shown you drums, and haven't necessarily showed you the chord rack. So I'll probably do that in a bit. Delay, reverb chain, what have you. So what I'm going to do here is let's go ahead and, I haven't shown you the stabs yet. So let's go ahead and play with the sampler stabs. And don't worry, guys, this is going to be simplified here. Some of this stuff is redundant, so it'll be more simplified for you. And this is one of our stabs here. And of course, we can affect the... But it's not very exciting in and of itself, right? But these are actually the way you start these off. So what I'm going to do is I'll drag in the stabs effect rack. And once again, this is a collection of loads of different chains of, as you can see, chains of effects. They're all by default turned off, but once you go past halfway point, it turns that effect on. And then you can come in here as well, and you can affect all the intricacies of this one effect, for example. So I could change the delay feedback, some dirt frequency. Delay amount, reverb amount. Different frequencies. So these are like two different filters here. So yeah, so you're getting a lot of variety here just with one sound. And this is just, once again, one effect. I could turn that off and turn the next one on. This one here. And then you could combine them if you want as well to get some really interesting. So that's what these effects racks are all about. It's very simple to use. You can manipulate each of the samples. So this one I just opened, I go ahead and shut that. I can go to the second one and do the same thing, as you can see. Third one. So all of them just have all these different ways of manipulating each of the effect racks. All right. So I wanted to give loads of flexibility, but make it super simple to get, you know, an effect happening. And once again, you don't have to use these effects necessarily on what they're created for. You can kind of misuse them as well. Let's we try reverse effects rack. Let's see what that's all about. so forth. Reverb and delay. There we go. And once again, when you go into the individual ones, you could really play around more with the, you know, the filters and all that different stuff, whatever is available. Pre-delay. There's different effects for each rack, so you can absolutely mix and match as well. We can drop in the Chords Rack. And this will give us a bunch of different chord ideas. So just by hitting one note, that's blank here. And as I go through, let me go back into our stab effects. And we'll go ahead and turn a couple of these on. I'll use less effects here so you can actually hear what the chord rack is actually doing. So I'll just leave one of these effects on. So all these are just loads of different chords that you can play with, and then you can just hit one key across the board and get different sounds and results very, very quickly. This is something you can use for anything that you like, really, but it's dropped here in your effects. All right. So just another tool added to the effects folder. So next we could jump into the operator stabs with effects. So let's just drop that on top to replace it. Actually, makes a new track there. So here's some of the other tracks, and here we've got stab effects that we can just turn on and off. However, you could drag in the one with macros here anytime you want. And we have several of these, so let's just jump over here. Once again, I'm going to grab the Chords Rack, and we'll go through some of these sounds here. That's considered the blank one. So different chords there. Now we'll get into the different stabs. Once again, we can change the chords here. Like so. And then of course we've got the different effects. With all of them on. So loads of fun with just that. You can keep those off or on however you would like. So yeah, those are more of the stab sounds that were created in Operator, all ready to go for you. And when this is officially released, we'll have all these options ready to go as well. For some reason, they don't seem to be mapped here. There might be some sort of translation happening in Ableton 10 that's not mapping things that were mapped in Ableton 8.4. So I'll definitely take care of that. So let me get rid of this here. And let's jump into In Key. This is a really interesting tool that I think you'll like quite a bit. So let me just drag this in here. Awesome. And as you can see here, I've actually put some instructions here as well, just to make it easier for you to set this up. But I'll show you right here how it's done. So what we've got two different options. You could go either by the note, kind of in order: C, D, D major, E flat, E major, F flat, F major, F sharp, and so forth, and then into the minors as well. This works with the mixed in key tool where the numbers are correlated. So this goes from 1B to 112, and then the minors are 1A to 12A. All right. Oh, I think I just said 1B to 112. No, 1B to 12B and 1A to 12A. All right. So with that, what we've got here is we've got some blank clips here, and we could just enter pretty much any note set that we want. Not even trying to pick anything in a particular key or anything, because what you'll notice is this tool is capable of taking care of that for you. So once we got that, what we need to do is figure out whether we want to go by note or by number. I would like to go by number, so I'm going to set monitor to in on here. And then what I'm going to do is, we've got our operator right here. So I'm just going to use this basic sound, but you could actually replace this operator with any other third-party or internal synth that you want. Doesn't matter. All right. And just for fun, I like to bring in a delay, and that's fine. Set to 3/16. Just make it a little less wet. And so now we've got this clip here where we just entered some notes. All right. And we're just going to play this. So that's not in any particular key, but as I hit these, you will notice that the key will conform. So all these random notes will conform to different keys. So this is a really great way to just come up with melodic ideas that you wouldn't have thought of. All right, so let's go ahead and play this. And then as I click on this, you'll notice that it conforms to the different keys. Go into some of the minor keys. And stop that for just a second. Now, what's really cool too is if you are already working on a song and you know the key that it's in, let's say it's a F major, for example. All right. So if a song is in F major, the cool thing that you can do is using the in key tool, you'll know, okay, F major is 7B. Now, what's cool about this is the way that harmonizing keys work is whatever is closest to number. So 6B and 8B will also harmonize with F major. And also, so if you have a song in F major, you can actually, let's do this again. We'll set this and get this going. So this will work. This will harmonize as well with F major. This will also harmonize. And then 7A which is D minor. All of those will harmonize with that key. So you could literally play around with different variations of one melody, right? So it's a really versatile and interesting tool that you can use and experiment with. You know, another thing is if you haven't started a song and you're just trying to get a melodic idea, you could just kind of run through all these different keys and see how different note patterns that you create work. You know, let's go ahead and create just another one here. So just once again, completely random. Okay, so this here. And once again, this is just like a basic sound, you know, I didn't even mess with the operator really at all. So you could, of course, get the sound doing some really interesting things as well. So yeah, that is the in-key tool. And that is also part of our master template 2.0. So as you can see here, your instructions here, you create melodies here. Then you choose MIDI to, and you choose whether you want to send MIDI to by note or by number, all right? I typically go by number. And as you can see, both of these have MIDI from the MIDI loops track. So whichever one you set to monitor, that's the one you're choosing. And then what you want to do is make sure that you drag in your synth of choice, or you can use the operator, totally up to you. So that is the in-key tool. All right, so next I want to get into waveforms. And this is a rack that wasn't available in version 1 of the Ableton Master template. So this is new. Let me go ahead and drag this in. Now, the importance of waveforms is that is the foundation of pretty much all synthesizers. So for example, if I come over and I drag in an operator instrument, right? Operator has 4 different what we call oscillators, and each one of these can play a waveform, right? So if we come over to one oscillator, we see here, this is the waveform that's now available, which is sine wave. And these are the other waveforms that are available for this particular synth, right? So you've got saw wave, square wave, triangle wave, and as you can see, it shows the waves here. And operator actually has this interesting way of, as you add different harmonics, you can see that it starts to change the waveform, right? So these changes, these subtle changes in the waveform can really give a synthesizer a lot of personality. So if you're able to sample waveforms from vintage and synth plugins, you're able to get a much wider variety of sounds that you can work with. So that's what I wanted to do here with the waveforms synth. So what we've got here is about 115 to 130, well, 120 waveforms that you can choose from here, all right? So if we go through this, you'll see a lot of these waveforms look similar, but they're not the same. There's a lot of subtle differences, all right? As you can see, these are different square waves. And then we get into kind of a saw wave, pulse waves, etc. So these are all kinds of different waveforms that you're able to work with. So these are the foundations of sounds. So what we've got 3 different waves that we can mix together to make even more complex sounds. And then I've just created some macros to give you more flexibility on this. And then of course you can drag in any effects that you would like and play around with that as well. So let's just start with one waveform here. And as we scroll through, we get a wide variety of similar but different sounds. So forth, right? And then we can kind of mess with this sound a little bit with FM synthesis. We can slow down the attack so it fades in. We can use an LFO. Filter with resonance. So forth. So we've got a lot of fun stuff that we can work with. So next what we can do is we can layer this waveform with another waveform. And as you can hear, the waves get more complicated as we go. So when your wave is at 0, it's actually silent. So there's nothing there. So once you move above 0, you're going to get a different waveform. We can give it a little bit of FM synthesis. And so forth. So this is a really great synth for just making really interesting sounding waveforms or layers of waves. Because when certain waves play together, some of the waves kind of start canceling each other out and kind of creates like almost like a comb filtering effect. There's a lot of really interesting things that happen when different waveforms work together. So this synth is available in 2.0 and it's a lot of fun. It can give you some really rich sounds from a variety. It kind of mimics a variety of different synthesizers. So good stuff there. And next, I'll show you the utility real quick. This is a reverb tester. It's really cool. So what we found is that reverb, it's most transparent. In other words, you notice what the reverb is doing most when you run white noise through it. So this is just a really simple tool where operators set up to white noise. So it doesn't really matter what note you play, you're going to get some white noise. And then you've got a reverb after it, and you could actually hear exactly what the reverb is doing. So change the reflex. And you hear it changing the sound. Change diffuse. Density. Size. Quality. Of course, we can get into low cut, high cut, spin, chorus. With pre-delay, if you want to test that, you want to kind of set this to probably 50% or something like that. So you hear some of the original sound, and then you can so forth. So what's great about this is you can really hear exactly what the reverb's doing before you assign it to a sound. So if you really want to fine tune what type of reverb you're putting on a sound, you can use the reverb tester, and then you can just copy and paste your settings to a sound. And you're going to get a more accurate idea of how that's affecting that sound. Next, I'm going to get into our, well, I'll show you the scale tool here. This is kind of similar to the in-key tool, except you can't really change keys on the fly in the same way. But this allows you to choose with this chain selector whichever key you would like, and it will transform whatever MIDI is playing to that key. So if you have issues with understanding music theory or what have you, you could drop one of these on all your MIDI tracks and have things in the same key. So just a simple tool that you can add to any MIDI track. I want to show you the sends. Most of these are pretty basic. You know, we've got short, medium, and long reverb. We have 3/16 note delay, quarter note delay. So these are the most common. And so since they're so common, if you drop them in as a return track, you can assign multiple sounds to these returns by using these sends here. All right. And then you can choose the amount that you want on each track. So save CPU, and also if you use kind of the same effect on multiple sounds, it kind of makes all those sounds sound like they're playing from the same space, which can sometimes be cool. For example, maybe adding a short reverb, the same one, to a whole drum kit or something like that. Make all those drums sound like they're playing in the same room. So what I wanted to show you here though was the dub feedback return. So let me drag this in real quick. What's cool about this is you can actually feed this back into itself, and just with a simple sound, you can get such a wide variety of long, drony, really interesting feedback. So what you would want to do here, as you can see, this is kind of grayed out. You have to right click to enable the sends, and that's what I did here. So I enabled these sends. So what I'm going to do, since this is return A, I'm going to send the return back into itself here. So it just does some more interesting things. And now all I've got is just a simple clap sound. Let me just turn this on. And then you can kind of play with these macros and do some really interesting things. And at this point, we could even turn off the original sound. Yeah, really interesting feedback, and depending on how much drive you add and stuff like that, it can give more extreme or less extreme effects. And that's just a simple clap sound that we ran through it. So you can really get interesting stuff by what you run through the dub feedback return. So I wanted to just show you guys that because it's a lot of fun to use. So last, what I'll do is I'll show you the reverse effects. So I'm just going to drop this in. What we've got here is just, we've got an effect rack here that you can play with. And then I've just loaded a bunch of kind of riser sort of sounds. And you could drag your own sounds into here as well. Just a bunch of reverse sounds. And then you can use the effects here to make it more interesting. and just a few different sounds. And so forth. And what you can do is in your song, if you find kind of like a sound that you want, you could just simply copy and paste it onto your reversed effects anywhere in your arrangement. And that's usually easier, you know, once you kind of figure out what sort of effect. But what's great is you can use the same sound, but just by manipulating the effects, you can get a different sort of thing. So it's not like the static same sound every time, just to create, you know, different builds and anticipation and that sort of thing. So another really easy to use tool, but really versatile. And with that, we've got our Ableton Master Template 2.0. So I hope you got a lot out of this. If this is the first video you're watching, make sure to watch the 3 other videos where I go through all the other sounds and tools that are available. And it's either available now, or if it's not yet available, you can sign up for the wait list and be the first to know about when it is released, which should be coming soon. The release actually has already happened. The Ableton Master Template 2.0 is totally available, and the links are in the description. If you guys have any questions while you're here, I know there's a few of you still here watching live, feel free to drop them in the comments, and I can jump into Ableton right here, and we can check whatever out you want. So if you could see and hear me and you want to ask a question, you got me free. Normally I charge $250 an hour for one-on-one consultation. This is your chance to kind of have that in a small group setting for free. So if you have any burning questions or just curiosities, feel free to let me know. And if not, I will get on with the rest of my day. By the way, the master template, I'm actually making some new upgrades. So there will be like almost like a version 2.5, if you will. I'm just going to add a couple extra tools that I've been thinking of. I'm always, as I work to create songs, I'm always figuring out what tools are necessary. You Ain't Chicago says, hey, what's the most efficient way to chop up a sample? For what purpose? For what purpose? Let me show you a way that I would approach chopping up a sample. If I just mainly want to chop something up, let's take a, let's see here. Let me just close all this real quick. So if we go into a sample here, let's just find it, my sample folder, and let's see what we got here. Okay, so let's take this for example. Yeah, I think I understand what you're looking for. So what you can do, let's just solo this here. So we've got this kind of voice thing, right? All right, so there's a couple ways that we could approach this. What I'm going to do, the simplest way, we'll turn warp on here, and we're just going to right click on this sample and then we're going to slice it to a new MIDI track, all right? And we're going to slice it to the transient. It's going to give me 84 slices, so that's cool. And give it just a second. It's a little slower because of the live stream. All right, there we go. It recreated that. So let's just solo this here. We can get rid of this now. I'm not playing anything yet. Oh yeah, let me set this real quick. Sorry about that. We'll set this here to the Ecamm Live app, and you should be able to hear. All right, so we got that. This is the sample that we're taking.
You are not normal. You are warped. You are sick. You are bad.
Okay, so that's from the movie Closetland, really crazy movie. So it creates a MIDI file here, but you can totally create your own. So let's just get rid of this MIDI file and create this here. And now we've got all these slices here, okay? So you could either come in here, make sure that this button right here is on, and that way you can hear the slices. So let's just play with a bunch of different sounds. So I'm actually going to turn this off and just kind of randomly pop in some notes in different places, all right? Just totally random, right? I could come in here, do whatever. Actually, we'll just make it 4 bars. So let's just do this here, and we'll pop in some real weird stuff, all right? Just keeping it totally random, all right? And then, of course, we can lengthen some of this stuff if we want. And now we've got this. All right, let's make it a little more fun. So I'm just going to make a bunch of 16th note things here. All right. Just like fill up all kinds of space, right? Cool. And now I'm going to hit legato. Oops, actually, let me highlight everything. So just Control A to highlight everything, and then legato. And then I'll just put a loop on this real quick. All right. Now we've got and now you can mess with these as well, which is really fun. Right. Another thing I could do is I could just make like a 1 bar sort of thing, right? And let's just highlight, delete all this. And I'm just going to choose. So we're just going to have just 16 bars here. All right. Make it a little shorter here. And then I'll put a couple 30 seconds in here. All right. And then I'll come into our MIDI effects and grab a random tool. All right. And chance 100%, choices a lot. Scale, I don't know what the scale is going to do for us. But yeah, now, okay, so right now, and of course you can come in and just, you know, we'll make the release shorter. Turn off random real quick. So yeah, you can, we'll turn the random back on. All kinds of crazy stuff. And then if you wanted to, you could kind of come in here and you could set your own warp markers for where you want things chopped up. And then when you split it, it will kind of split it however you want. So that is, that's how I would cut up samples. You could also do this with, we'll get rid of this here. Get rid of this here. And we drag this in to MIDI track. It creates this here, and then we could choose sliced, right? And there we go. We've got all these slices that are already created for us. And then we can...
You are not normal. You.
Right? And I'm going to choose the sliced, and we'll turn these off. So now, so yeah, you could set it to there. You could set them to like 1 bar or even quarter note sort of thing. Like preserve, let's say. And then of course you could come into controls and do all kinds of fun stuff here. So yeah, just the sliced will allow you to have these all cut up as well. And you could come in and once again, you can move these wherever you want them to do whatever you want. So you don't need to use the way that they've set everything up. Very, very cool stuff. So yeah, that's how I would chop up my samples, you know. I mean, you could always like just come in here and warp something, and then you could kind of take little sections and, you know, duplicate and that sort of thing. This sort of, you know, that sort of stuff, and come in and find like a word. You know, that sort of stuff. you know, that's all just cut, copy, and paste. And you could do a lot of stuff with just that as well, right? I'll show you one last thing before I head out is we'll set some markers here, all right? So let's... You
are not normal.
All right, so we'll just have that. We'll have this.
You are warped.
All right.
You are sick.
This sort of crazy stuff, right? And you could put markers for like full sections or whatever. That's good for now. And then I could right click, and when I slice to MIDI, instead of transients, I'm going to go with the warp marker. And I've got less slices here, but I've got, let's see, let me solo this real quick.
You are warped. You are. You've always been bad. You've always been bad. You are sick.
Okay, so you can do that sort of stuff as well. So yeah, loads of different ways that you can cut up samples. So I hope that helped. All right. If you're not, yeah, slice to new MIDI. Make sure that the sample is warped though, otherwise you won't see it. Let me just back up real quick. So one thing that might confuse some people is if you're over here, if you don't have warp on and you drag in a sample, right, and it's not warped, when you right click, you're not going to see slice to MIDI as an option, all right? Once you turn warp on, yeah. Once you turn warp on, right click, slice to MIDI shows up. So if you don't see it, it's probably because the part's not warped. All right, hope that is helpful to you. And if anyone else has any questions, feel free to drop them here. Otherwise, I will take off, but I'm here to help. It's really interesting that Facebook's algorithm, you know, doesn't show live streams to that many people, considering I've got about 25,000 people following this page. Not that many people see the live streams, hardly at all. Very, very strange. So make sure to share this with a friend if you think this is cool stuff. But yeah, there we go. I'm gonna conclude this video, and obviously if you're watching now and you just tuned in, you can watch all the information on the master template that I've got on promo right now. And it's, if you didn't watch it before, just to try to intrigue you a little bit, the master template is this collection here, a massive collection of tools, bass, drums, electronic, drum loops for days, all kinds of different stuff. Way too much to talk about. Leads, pads, stutter pads, waveforms that you can turn into synths. I've created loads and loads of tools and sends and returns and stuff like that. So if you're looking for something to help you create songs really quickly and have loads of flexibility on, you know, every aspect of your song, this might be a tool you want to check out. So hey, B Flores, thanks for commenting, appreciate it. So with that, guys, have a fantastic one, and I'll speak to you guys soon. Take care. Oh, also, if you're watching still, make sure to like the page if you haven't already, and click on the notifications and put like all notifications. That way you'll see every time I post some helpful information or whatever. So if this is something that you're into, make sure to do that, because otherwise Facebook's not going to show you any of my live streams or the stuff I post. So totally up to you, but yeah, if you like this sort of stuff, I'd love to have you on board. Take care, guys. Have a good one.